Hello, Transurfers and the Transurfing Curious. I am Renee Garcia, and this is your Reality Transurfing Express lesson of the day on TransurfingTV, the only endorsed transurfing channel by Vadim Zeland himself. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so, and also join our Facebook group, the International Transurfing Institute. The link is below. It is awesome. There are lots and lots of conversations like this and many more. So this was actually, this lesson today was inspired by something that somebody posted on the ITI Facebook group. They were talking about wanting to stop cussing. So this is how to quit bad habits. And I've never actually talked about this before. I have done this technique quite a bit. This is my own thing that I've made up for myself. I have broken many bad habits doing these steps, and I'm going to give it my best, let you all know exactly what I do. It's a little bit extreme, but it has worked for me. And yeah, let me know your thoughts if this is something that you feel would work for you, or if you do it and it does work for you. So bad habits: smoking, drugs, alcohol, cussing, gossiping, food, whatever it is that you do not want in your reality anymore. The reason that this thing actually rooted itself in your reality, in my opinion, is because you are resonating at the time at the same frequency as the thing. So I'm going to use my own personal example of smoking. I was a smoker for a lot of years, more than I really want to admit. I think like over 20 years. So, and I struggled constantly. I was always trying to quit. I was always chewing the gum. I would stop maybe for like a year, and then something would happen in my life and I would get stressed and I would pick it back up, and I started to really hate this thing, but I still enjoyed it. That's the fucked up part of a habit, obviously, is that you want to stop, but there's a certain part of yourself that still enjoys it. So when you started, or when I started smoking, I really resonated with cigarettes. I was a rebel, and I did it to defy my parents, and of course a habit developed and I took it into my adulthood. But at the time, I resonated strongly with this thing, and that's how it rooted itself in my life. Then at a certain point, the resonance became not totally conflicting, but somewhat off balance. So I wasn't hating the thing yet, but I wasn't in love with it anymore. And I was kind of resonating with it, but it was imbalanced resonance. And I would go back and forth. I would say, oh, this really is gross. I don't want to do it anymore. And then I would find myself smoking and say, oh, well, it's actually not that bad. I still like it. I still enjoy when I have a cigarette. And it was like this imbalanced resonance that was going on. How I learned to quit. And I did this a few times with smaller things before cigarettes, but I will again use the cigarettes as an example because this was my biggest and most challenging. So what I decided is that I needed to start resonating at the opposite frequency, okay? The absolute opposite. Everything that I had once deemed cigarettes to be or to do for me, I needed to have the exact opposite thought, the polarized way of thinking about it. I needed to learn to absolutely hate cigarettes. Now, I know that in the transurfing modality, a lot we talk about hate. If you don't want something, you'll get more of it. But in this circumstance, maybe you'll see what I'm talking about in a few minutes and understand where I'm going with this. So what I decided to do was I decided to focus on absolutely everything that I hated about smoking. No more positive. So when I smoked a cigarette, once I decided to quit, When I smoked a cigarette, there were no more positive thoughts. No more, well, I'm only down to 2 a day, or I really do enjoy sitting by myself and having a cigarette at the end of the day. There was going to be no more of that. I was only going to focus on the negative, okay? So my teeth yellowing, my breath being bad, my hands smelling bad, my nails getting yellow, my clothes stinking, people being turned off by me smoking, the cost of it, the fact that it made my house smell bad, whatever it was, my health, my lungs felt like shit, right? That's part of the reason why I started to have that imbalanced frequency, is because I started to see the negative side effects, and my lungs starting to hurt was really one of the ones that was, I knew I needed to move this out of my life. So I decided that I would only focus on the negative. So if I had a thought about a cigarette, this is a pendulum controlling you. If I was smoking a cigarette, think of how bad my mouth tasted, think of how bad I would stink, all of that stuff. And slowly, I started to feel like I was moving away from this thing. Like I just did not want to do it anymore, because as I participated in this hating of this habit, and really focusing on the negative, I got myself to a point where every time I had a cigarette, it was absolutely excruciating. I could barely handle it anymore. There was no enjoyment in it at all, and I could really feel like I was ready to move on. I connected with my higher self and asked my higher self for help. The higher version of Renee does not smoke cigarettes. So higher self, what do I need to do to quit this? And really the answer is so simple. Come with me to a higher life track, Renee, where a higher version of Renee exists and doesn't smoke anymore. And I know that sounds really simple, but it worked. Continuing to resonate at that low frequency inhibited me ascending to higher life tracks. Okay, so this is valuable. I remember there's an infinite number of life tracks in the alternative space and an infinite number of versions of yourself. Okay, we want to achieve this higher track. We want to get up here to our highest version of ourselves. Okay, this is our happiest. This is where we have everything we want. This is where we're healthy, emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, energetically, everything. Me smoking, I was down here, and I was just not going. A lot of these, sorry, this is not happy. A lot of these life tracks have to do with your resonating frequency. You are not going to be up here if you are resonating at a lower frequency. So I was on this lower track. I was resonating at in an imbalanced way. I was resonating with certain bad habits. Same with drugs and alcohol. It's the exact same deal. And my frequency was inhibiting me from going to this higher place, going to this higher track. So as soon as I really accepted this and I knew, well, I don't want to live down here. I want to be up here. And I knew that smoking cigarettes, but not just the act or the damage I was doing to myself in doing so, but the fact that I was maintaining a lower frequency and it was inhibiting me from going up to that higher version of myself, this was enough for me to quit, and it was awesome. I have a couple steps, and I would say this is sort of how I broke it down. Set an intention to hate your habit. Absolutely hate it with a burning passion, okay? Tell your habit, this is war, and every time I entertain you, I will tell you all the reasons I hate you, okay? Do this the entire time you are participating in the activity. So if you are overeating, if you're smoking, if you're high, if you're drinking, if you're gossiping, whatever it is, while you are, and this is where awareness and waking up comes in, while you are doing this thing, tell your thing why you hate it. I hate you because you make me stink. I hate you because you make my breath taste bad, my mouth taste bad. I hate you because you cost me $15 a pack. I hate you because you are taking years away from my life. You cannot continue to do something if you tell yourself for an extended period of time why you hate doing that. But you have to remove the illusion, you have to remove the pleasure, and you have to replace it with just what you do not like about it. So again, set an intention to hate your habit. Tell your habit this is war, and every time I entertain you, I'm going to tell you all the reasons that I hate you. Do this the entire time you do the thing, okay? If you have something you do after, now this was a valuable one for me, if you have something you do after to make yourself feel better about doing this thing, don't do it, okay? So what I would do is when I smoked, I would go outside, I would smoke my cigarette, and then I would come inside and I would wash my hands and I'd change my clothes and I'd brush my teeth and I'd put spray in my hair so I couldn't smell it. This was me masking the things that I didn't like about the thing, and I told myself, stop doing that. Sit in that stink. I know this sounds gross. Sit in that feeling that you've got cigarette smoke sitting on you and it's not good for you. And as soon as I really started to stop myself from trying to control the negative effects, that's when it kicked it into overdrive. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta get this thing out of my life. I absolutely have to. Replace the habit with something positive. So I'm a firm believer in hot lemon water. I drink a lot of hot lemon water every day. Every single morning, I drink a very, very large glass of hot lemon water, and I do it throughout my entire day. This habit developed at the time that I wanted to quit smoking. So what I did is in the morning, when I would usually just get my cup of coffee, go outside and have a cigarette, I decided that I was going to fix myself a glass of hot lemon water, warm lemon water, and I was really going to savor all the things that I enjoy about it. I get a big dose of vitamin D. My liver gets woken up in the morning via the lemon water. I feel that it makes my skin look really nice. There's a lot of positive benefits that I feel from this water that I drink, and I just decided that every time I'd want a cigarette after I started to hate it and really decided to quit, and this didn't even last very long because once I did all the steps that I just talked about, I didn't really even feel the urge to smoke anymore. But if I ever had the thought, I would replace it with the lemon water. And then when I was drinking the lemon water, I would think about how much I loved the lemon water and how much better I felt with that habit than the older one. Talk up this replacement, right? So again, just really, this is good for me. This is good for my liver. It's good for my internal organs. It's good for my skin. It's good for my immune system, so on and so forth. Be relentless. Don't stop until you absolutely hate this thing. Okay. So don't waver. Don't start to hate it and then decide it's too hard to quit. You're going to start to like it a little bit more. Set the intention and be committed to hating this habit to get it out of your life. If you can't ditch the habit, right? If you really feel that you cannot ditch the habit right now and you've tried these steps and they're not working for you, do not torture yourself. You will eventually get to a place where you can stop this thing. But in the meantime, love the habit. So you can have one or the other, and that's the way that I looked at it. Renee, you are either going to stop the thing entirely, or you are just going to be a smoker and you're going to enjoy it. But you aren't going to smoke cigarettes and hate them and not quit. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't going to allow myself to hate something I was doing, but continue to do it every day. And Vadim Zeland talks about this in the book, specifically with smoking cigarettes. He says, if you can't quit smoking, then don't don't just hate yourself, not buy cigarettes and then go and find cigarette butts and smoke them, right? Get a nice cigarette case, get a nice lighter, enjoy the habit. Make an event out of the habit. Feel good about it. So again, this gets back to frequency levels. If you're enjoying what you're doing, you could still go up here. If you're not enjoying, you're resonating at a low frequency, especially if you're telling yourself that you can't stop, and this is going to really, this is going to fuck you up. So again, either hate or have pride, okay? One or the other. Don't go in the middle, in the no man's land middle ground, because that's just gonna mess you up and keep you there. Doing something that makes you feel bad, again, systematically doing something that makes you feel bad, it's a lose-lose. You're not doing anything for yourself, anything for your mindset, anything for your reality, your thought quality, none of it. So again, it's either accept the thing, take pride in it, right? If you're a gossiper, be the best gossiper. If you're gonna cuss better than anybody else. If you're gonna smoke weed or drink or smoke cigarettes or whatever it is that your habit is, do it with pride, own it, don't hate yourself, and then continue to do it, or learn to hate the thing and get it out of your life. So I hope this helps someone. I am curious about your comments on this. I know that Transurfing typically does not talk about us like hating stuff. So I'm a little curious to see what you all think about this, but yeah, let me know. Thanks, guys.